Hey, sweetie pie.
Hi there, this is Bianca Bashak, and I interview happy couples and share their love stories on my website crazylovestories.com. But there's always so much more that goes on behind the scenes before you find that special relationship, the one that you know is different from the rest. And this is what I discuss with you here, the actual journeys that people go through, both happy and sad, on their quest for love. And today's true love story is called Everything Happens for a Reason, even the Mr. Wrong you met on Tinder. Before we start our story, though, I want you, yes, you who's listening to me right now, to have a look at your fingertip, the one you use when you're pointing at things. Just look at it. Who would have believed that that innocent looking little fingertip would one day become the almighty gatekeeper of who you might let into your heart, your head, and even your bed? With the juicy integration of smartphones with dating apps, so much of your life's journey now lies directly on that sweet little fingertip and which way it swipes. Look before you leap, they always say, but there's only so far that the eye can see, and the flat screen on your phone fails to provide an x-ray into the soul of the smiling face before you. And those dimples can be so distracting. So, how can you tell if the story will end in joy or misery? And more importantly, does it even matter? Is looking before you leap overrated? Well, listen to my friend Lydia's story. If it was somehow possible to take a photo of someone's love life, Lydia's would be a photo of a perfectly empty desert, in black and white. Now, this just made no sense when compared to a snapshot of her essence, which was bursting with an abundance of spring flowers of every color. If you also considered her delightful, uplifting presence, which always made you feel that a wonderful surprise could befall little old you at any given second, her inner and outer beauty, her ability to make you laugh until your belly ached, her ability to listen not with her ears but with her whole heart, her well-established career and wide range of hobbies and talents, one couldn't help but wonder what a girl like her was doing in a desert like this. It's such a common story, isn't it? So many lovely, yet lonely people with so much love to give in this world. And none of them seem to be able to find each other. It doesn't seem fair or sensical, does it? The story continues. Realizing that for anything to come into your life, you need to do your part and part your door open, Lydia signed up on Tinder. Now her love life was transformed from a plain arid desert to a mostly plain arid desert that had a few shrubs here and there. They were, unfortunately, thorny shrubs and bore no fruits. Then one day, things fully changed direction, with the route pointing towards what seemed to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Lydia had always had a dream. Originally from Sweden, she was an expat in Istanbul, but had always wanted to end up in Paris, where she'd lived before, and felt her destiny lay with a Frenchman. Her plan had been to move to France that summer, but too comfortable in her comfort zone, she'd been dragging her usually energy-filled feet. It was quite a surprise when destiny delivered her a very clear message. A Tinder match with a Frenchman who lived in a country no other than France. Disappointed with French women, this monsieur was also hoping to find love in other regions, and something had urged him to add Istanbul on his list. Lydia was surprised, as Tinder didn't allow you to match with a country that far away. But it turned out that there was an app that allowed for it, and Mr. France had gone out of his way and purchased it. How can this be interpreted as anything other than a very clear sign of Cupid being rather deliberate with his arrows? Their connection was instant, and soon their texting turned into long video conversations, which were deep and flowing and intense. Within a few weeks, Lydia was on a flight to France for a short visit, which only caused them to be even more delighted with each other. A few more visits and a few short months later, with the full support of her new boyfriend, Lydia dusted off and speeded up her plan to make the big move. Soon she resigned, sold her belongings, and with her guitar on her back and a one-way ticket in her hand, she made her way towards her new life. Did they live happily ever after? Well, keep listening. Lydia had been able to secure a new job during her previous visits to France, and it was due to this that her and her boyfriend had ended up in separate cities, so their relationship was still technically a long-distance one. Regardless, Mr. France was a blessing in that he did help her find her way in this new country, assisting with simple things such as house hunting and doing other boyfriendy things with a hammer and such that helped her settle in with relative emotional support. Although Mr. France was Mr. Right for giving her the final but very significant push she needed to move to her dream country, she soon started to notice that he indulged in behaviors that made her doubt his honesty, faithfulness, and dedication. Their interactions had increasingly become rather unsatisfactory and always left her with the feeling of only being allowed 2 Pringles out of a full box, which he was holding. Her generous being, soft heart, sharp intuition, as well as her practical intelligent powers of analysis, were one by one taking a stand against her union with Mr. France. And we may now refer to him as Mr. Wrong. After the agonizing phase of trying to make a decision whether to stay in or leave the relationship, which, as we all know, sometimes is more painful than the post-breakup phase itself, Lydia knew that she needed to listen to her gut. She walked away with admirable courage, a few tears, and a broken heart. Her self-respect, on the other hand, was fully intact. So, how can Mr. Wrong for your song be Mr. Right for your plight? This romance that had inspired her to move countries, which had died a surprisingly early death, was indeed a soul gift for Lydia on many other levels. Any exercise that boosts your emotional strength muscle is never a waste. And living in a world where the universe always watches your actions rather than words, what better way is there to clearly demonstrate what you refuse to tolerate in your relationships, as well as how much you value yourself, than to pack up and walk away? It's an excellent few birds with one stone move to clear out the debris of a story which has ended and create space for a healthier, more fulfilling kind of love to fill your life, whether it be with a new partner or with yourself. With courage, she opted to turn away and continue walking. She did not give in to disappointment or disillusionment. Instead, she pulled herself together and got on Tinder again. Shortly after, she connected with someone new. This particular monsieur seemed different from the rest, but different in a way that was very similar to herself. They clicked. They met. And they kept meeting. They got deeper and deeper into each other, delighted at having found a fellow kindred soul. Lydia saw that the road that had led her away from Mr. Wrong was the very same road that had led her towards her real partner in life. All she'd had to do was keep walking. Destiny had tested her, and choosing courage had ensured a blessed outcome. It's years later now, and Lydia still lives in her dream country with her true love, whom she might have not met had it not been for the Mr. Wrong, who made her take the final leap to France. Sometimes you don't need to look too deep before you leap, because you never know what lies a few more steps into your journey. And it seems courage is the key to unlock each wondrous adventure through an unforgettable lesson that you needed to learn, be it good or bad. Perhaps a heartfelt merci is what really needs to be said to the way too spicy, eye-watering old lovers who kiss and release us towards the right direction. The happy end. And yes, I have changed the details to protect the privacy of the people in the story. So do not go snooping through my social media trying to figure out who it is. You are very welcome, though, to follow me on my social media. You can find all my links on my website, crazylovestories.com. This is Bianca Bashak wishing you a wonderful day, and I hope you hear from me again, as in I hope you subscribe.